What is up, everybody? I am watching my son Sage today, hanging out at home, having a day off. But we had to say something. I mean, it wasn't our news that we broke. We didn't break anything about Maason Smith, so I kind of just let the people who broke it have their day and kind of just be the ones to go on that whole ride. But we were shocked by this news. There's some times that we are, a lot of times recently where we really are actually on the inside of some of these things going on behind LSU, and some of you're caught off guard. We're really not. Sometimes we're the ones breaking it. Very interesting developments that career-wise the last few years, and people can say what they want, but truth is undeniable. Maason Smith, that news, we were shocked about hearing. We figured when we saw the tweet, we were driving and thought, oh, Maason Smith out week one. Got to be the injury and how bad it is. The injury that he suffered in camp, right? No. An impermissible NIL benefit. Maason Smith, LSU defensive line Maason Smith, suspended versus Florida State for doing an autograph signing in late spring, I believe it was, 2021, right before NIL was legalized in June or July 2021. So just like a couple months, a month, if that. And him and Booty do a have to do a one-game suspension. Booty did his last year against New Mexico. No one knew that. Very interesting. You still can keep a secret nowadays. But this is an absolute show of disgusting NCAA reach, where literally either the NCAA or Florida State or both got together and were like, we got to get one of these guys suspended. We cannot let LSU be full strength. One of these guys has had to have screwed up. Let's just go dig. Go through Harold Perkins. Go through Maason Smith. Go through Jaden Daniels. Go through Mekhi Wingo now coming onto the scene. Go through this guy. Go through Malik Neighbors. And they found Maason Smith. It was very easy because, Keyshawn Booty was there, participated, and had already served a one-game suspension. So Maason Smith was likely going to serve the suspension already. Maybe LSU were trying to appeal. So LSU probably knew about this way in advance. We're just shocked. But what the hell are the NCAA doing, man? What in God's name are the NCAA doing? Because here's the thing. They have no relevance. They have no shame. And they're just going for the lowest hanging fruit, the lowest, just the easiest busts, just looking so terrible doing this type of stuff, like going out of their way to look relevant and being so pathetic in doing so. This suspension, are you kidding me? When you go back and look at some of the suspensions they've done over their lifespan, the NCAA, it's like, what are you here for? What has anyone ever learned or gained from one of your suspensions? How has any of this been positive for anyone? Look at the AJ Green suspension, how ridiculous that one was. That's just one that really stuck with me. He's not an LSU player, but AJ Green was such a great player, and it felt like the NCAA literally took his career from him in college. Like, an unbelievable player. And you look at just how Reggie Bush has had his Heisman kept from him. It's just the NCAA, what are you doing? You should not. You You look at the Harbaugh situation. They literally have no power. And Harbaugh's like, I know you have no power. I know you can't do anything, but okay. I'll save some face for both of us, make you look relevant still, and make it look like I'm not just, completely breaking the rules here and not giving a damn. And just, okay, I'll concede by doing 3 games, I think it was. How and when is he going to serve those 3 games? How and why are Michigan able to broker a deal? Well, whereas NCAA are like literally hunting for something to find at LSU, anything they can find. They're literally hunting. Sage is sitting there eating his food, his watermelon and his toast and his berries and all of his stuff and yogurt, and watching Elmo ignoring Daddy's crazy ranting. I just knew I had to do this because it's just such a big story that we all got to talk about it, and you know, I just can't believe it's come to this. I just can't believe it's come to this where Maason Smith is going to serve a 1-game suspension, a 1-game for suspension for doing a paid autograph session. Tell me, please, how much was he paid for that session? Like, can the NCAA include that in part of their ruling? By the way, we would like to credit, that was Wilson Alexander, the advocate, who broke that news. And Wilson, thank you so much for crediting us officially, not just taking our news like so many punks do. Wilson was cool and credited our scoop on the Sage Ryan story there officially. And Wilson's always a good guy. Sometimes he doesn't get my crazy humor, but I noticed me and Wilson were always the first ones there at practices whenever I have been able to go down there. Wilson was usually right after me. I'm there like hours early checking everything out, and I would still do the same thing if I lived down there. Like, it would be every second. Yeah. Oh, you dropped your water? And so kudos to Wilson. Cool dude. I really like him a lot. But really, it's not a story anyone should want to break. Oh, Maason Smith suspended versus Florida State. So two opportunities to play against Florida State. Both times not even able to take part because of the 20 ACL celebrating. And he probably would have had to be suspended versus New Mexico that season. They probably are already like, oh yeah, we'll suspend him this game, and then we'll have him play for it. Like, now it's just you're out for Florida State no matter what. You're done. You cannot play that game. I think it's just so shameless of the NCAA. Huh, Sage? It's shameless of the NCAA. I mean, here's the thing. I think LSU will be okay without Maason Smith through the middle. But once again, this is yet another game Maason Smith misses in his LSU career. I believe it was like 20 games he's missed. Let's think. Okay, last year let's just count let's just count the Florida State game as a game he missed, even though he played like a drive or whatever and was awesome. Let's just count that as a game he missed. So he misses 14 games last year. What's up, buddy? I think he missed like something like 5 games in year 2. Hey, buddy. He's got a Cheerio right on his face and watermelon. Oh, shoot. Your Elmo got changed. Got changed to some dumb interview of mine. Let's force you to watch my content, Sage. Be brainwashed in the LSU Odyssey way, buddy. Yeah, this Maason Smith thing to me is just so troubling because, okay, they did an autograph session, him and Keisha, okay? In 2021, whoa, Sage, what's that? Oh my God, what's this, buddy? Sage. It's Sesame Street. Oh my God. Sage, look. Oh, it's Sesame. It's Elmo. Oh my gosh. Buddy, look. Oh my gosh. He was still just staring right at me, but now he's finally seeing Elmo. He's loving that Elmo's back on. Sorry, I have to do that. Have to. He might even want out of his chair. This is just this is unbelievable. They're just the NCAA are willing to go to any length to make LSU look like a problem program. Jamer says, "Hi, sweet little Sage." Jamer says, "What's up, buddy?" I was aghast when I saw the news. It was just like, are you kidding me? Let's see what Matt Moscona posted yesterday, because he posted something that was rather interesting. Everybody was suddenly putting on their journalist hat and digging deep there about Maason Smith. Let's see. I believe you'll just be echoing what I just barely said, though, about the autograph signings. But how much were they even paid for the signings? That's what I want to know. How much were they even paid? I can text some of the people involved and get answers for that, or get half answers. I don't really care, because it's such a stupid nothing situation. Improper benefit occurred pre-NIL era. Maason Smith may have served a one-game suspension last year, as Matt Moscona first said, but he missed the season with an ACL injury. That was an update posted by Wilson Alexander. That's hilarious. Matt Moscona's after further review post on Twitter literally has like one of the oldest photos of him ever. Like, Matt, you still have fucking hair in that photo. That's hilarious. Holy shit. Like, how is this wrong? How could you retroactively be like, yep, you know what, Maason? You knew this was wrong. You can't pay players, and you did it anyway. Sick bastard. You did it. You must serve that suspension. Like, how can you, as the NCAA, sit there and be like, yep, this is what we must do. This is what we have to do. We are obligated to enforce these rules. Obligated. We must bury LSU. How can you sleep at night knowing that you are literally like taking games from a kid's career? I'm just appalled. LSU, I think, on the field, we can throw Jacoby and Guillory at them. We can have Paris Shand moving up in on the inside. We can have, basically a 3 middle setup with 2 jacks. We can have a front 5 where we put Mekhi Wingo, Jacoby and Guillory at the nose, and then someone like Savion Jones on the inside, and then Agofu, and then someone like Jackson Howard or someone on the other side of the other jack position. So you can do so many different things with this defensive line, and it sucks to not have Maason Smith because he's a big part of that. You can put him almost anywhere on the defensive line. But we haven't really been able to see that in his LSU career because of crap like this. 1 second, I got to get him out of his chair. An intermission. Intermission music. Intermission music. Intermission music. Intermission music. A flying sagey din. A flying sagey din. Okay. You hear that little growl from him? love it. Here, buddy. Drink your pop. Wash that down. You're probably thirsty. I know when my boy's thirsty. He's probably thirsty. Oh, he is. Yep. I knew it. This is just really weird for me because Maason Smith has had, his freshman year started off well. He had that 3-sack game against McNeese. He had that sack against Florida. And then he got hurt, I believe, in the Mississippi State game, maybe. Or was it the Texas A&M? I'm trying to remember what game it was that he got hurt in. Wouldn't be A&M. Maybe it was the Florida game. No, Ole Miss. Maybe it was the Ole Miss game. But Maason Smith got hurt in that game, missed like the last part of the season until he played in the Kansas State game. Played limited reps, I believe, in that Kansas State game. But he's just had false starts ever since then. And the ACL injury, there's such a mental thing with how you got, especially how you got that injury, to rebound from that. It's something else. Like coming back from an injury, rehabbing from an injury, especially one that big, guys. It's not just like, oh, well, that's what you do. You're an athlete. This is some serious shit, and like 90% of athletes can't do it. That's why they're not professionals. But to do that to your body time and time again is pretty something special. Something crazy. Something that it's probably something that should not be done, but they're doing it for that paycheck. It might not be a way of life that we see for time and all eternity on this earth here. Football might become extinct at some point because of the cost. We just haven't seen that person die on the field yet. Maybe when that happens, the woke, media will go absolutely apeshit. There'll be bills drafted banning football. There'll be all sorts of just melting, crazy reaction to that, something like that. But it will happen at some point. We are lucky it has not happened so far. Sorry for the diatribe. But Maason Smith, he's had so many injuries coming through here. The ACL, and then now you see, from what I'm hearing, it's inflammation with those lower leg muscles. And supposedly the location of it is in an area that is not good for him to recover. We'll just put it that way. I don't know. I don't know what his future holds because you've got to get him on the field. And until you see him for a sustained period of time on the field this season, he might still go high in the draft. He might still be like a top 10, 20 pick just because of his raw athletic, skill set. But as for his longevity in the NFL or his full impact as an LSU Tiger, I got to see it first with Maason Smith, guys. I'm not trying to bag on him. But like, this thing is such bullshit, this NCAA thing. It's not on Maason. But in a way, it kind of is. Because how would you know, getting paid for it at the time, such a public event, and like advertised publicly on social media too. I remember this thing. And I'm thinking, well, this is probably allowed to be done because, no one's being paid. And, I didn't think anything really of it that much. But I remember this event. I even just barely looked it up. We know exactly the people who are involved and set it up. We don't really want to say their names so that everybody, or their business really, so that everyone goes after them. But you all know who it is probably. And it sucks because they're a great Baton Rouge business, but dumb. Get these kids in trouble. And now Maason Smith sits out one of the most like coin toss games of the season. A game where he's probably due for at least 4 or 5 big plays, you think, right? Maybe at least one sack, at least another tackle for loss. At the least, he adds like 2-3 pressures. At the least, he's affecting a couple like throws, the trajectory of, or the destroying the pocket, breaking up a protection. At his worst, he's at least doing that. And I think at his best in what would have been his performance against Florida State, probably gets like 2 sacks in that game because he's just so damn hungry and so ready to go. And all in all, really, I don't like that this happened because I wanted to see Maason Smith just get through a game and be good. And just kind of, because once you do that, coming back from an injury, you just feel like nothing can stop you again. Like you're back. Like you're back in that rhythm of you're taking hits, you're getting hit in that spot that's hurt, and you don't feel that dull ache. You don't feel that sharp pain. You're good to go. You're not hobbling anymore. Like now you're good. You can play. You can do this again. I want Maason to feel that. And maybe Grambling's that game, right? Maybe Grambling's the game he needs to get back into the flow of things, where he can get like 3 or 4 sacks against these people, Sage. Here, buddy, don't kick that thing. So I mean, like Florida State, it would have been a crazy game for him to go back in because, like, that's a team he got hurt against. It's revenge. We lost the game last season. Intense number 6 versus number 8. Neutral setting. All that stuff. But what an opportunity! What a stage for him too. It could have been another ugly moment where he tears his ACL again on the big stage. Anything could have happened. Of course, it's football. So maybe against a lower tier opponent at home, possibly celebrating going 1-0 against Florida State, most likely. Maybe that's the time to bring Maason Smith back in and just look at the silver lining here. As long as LSU win, it's all good, right? Let's just think of it that way. As long as LSU can beat Florida State, this Maason Smith thing doesn't even matter, right? But if LSU lose to Florida State and Jordan Travis is, able to really extend plays, make huge plays downfield with his arm, make huge plays with his legs, the offensive line have a field day, the running backs have a field day. If Florida State's offense does what they did to LSU last year, but actually capitalizing more on third down, actually capitalizing more on the red zone, they could really put up some points on LSU this season with our secondary. And I'm not saying I don't back our guys. I'm not saying I don't think LSU are going to be able to shut them down. I do forecast and foresee, though, an absolute shootout in week 1 against Florida State. It's all good, buddy. It's all good. He's just trying to get the laptop. I see a shootout. I don't know about you, but I see a shootout. Thomas Oldham, just a laughing face. What's so funny, Thomas, huh? What's so funny? Probably laughing about. Who knows? Who knows what Thomas is laughing at? And at this point, who's to know? Probably how I look. Probably the Maason Smith situation. Who knows? Jesus. Careful, buddy. I'm just shocked. It was even the people close to this news who broke it. I mean, this was like very kept in tight. But when this was broken by Wilson Alexander, I'm sure it even probably leveled him like, holy shit. I mean, what a how do I put it? How do I say this? It feels like LSU just had like a bunch of like weight just put on their shoulders. Like here's another problem added to the situation. You're not going to have Maason Smith Your secondary hasn't been figured out yet. All over the place. Who knows what's going on? Who knows how they're going to play? They could be really, really good. They could be really, really poor. And they could be everything in between with that secondary. I mean, sure, of course. But usually with one or two guys, you know what to expect out of them. There's like, a handful of guys you trust in the secondary, and like everything else is just complete uncertainty. Just complete, widespread uncertainty. So it's having not having Maason Smith up front, just another bulldozing weapon, breaking up protections, getting to the quarterback, destroying offensive linemen, shutting down the outlets in the flat to the receivers or to the running backs, tight ends. Rivers, come here. Come over here, move over here. That's a big, big, big blow. Jamer says, how can anyone not feel like the NCAA hates LSU? It's ridiculous. I know. I get it. It's unbelievable the type of shit they put LSU through that they don't put any other school through. They hold LSU to such a ridiculous standard of accountability. I have never... Some of the things that LSU guys have been suspended for, LSU coaches have been targeted for, why are they even looking at us in the first place when every other school is doing this, is my question too. Ohio State had how many autograph sessions back in 2020, 2021 that I remember? I remember so many of those, seeing so many of those. Nothing's ever happened there. You cannot tell me that Ohio State weren't paying these players or giving them impermissible benefits. Absolute bullshit. The problem here is the person who was doing the autograph session had a falling out with Kayshon Boutte for some reason and decided to air out the news and destroy Kayshon Boutte and get him in trouble. That's what happened. And so now that absolute asshole doesn't understand that he also just cost Maason Smith to play against Florida State as well. Like, what an absolute selfish dick, whoever this is. And you have the NCAA. I mean, I don't know what any person... Like, I have not watched a single lick of LSU media coverage on this. I haven't watched what Jordy Culotta said. I haven't watched Off the Bench. I haven't watched Matt Moscona going on his Moscona rants. I haven't watched anything yet. Usually I like to have that stuff on because I just love to have LSU shit all around. Even if I'm creating my own at that same time, which is usually the case, I still like to have it on in the background, or, some type of crazy kick-ass music, like some live AC/DC album from the 70s, or Judas Priest's Unleashed in the East live record from 79. Check that shit out. That album is fucking amazing. Unleashed in the East. Unreal. But I haven't really checked out what anyone said about this, because I wanted to come into this unblemished from anything. I really wanted to look at this right on its face and how galling and how ridiculous it is from the NCAA standpoint. What the hell are they doing? You have no power. You have no authority. Maason Smith could probably just say, fuck you, NCAA, I'm not sitting, and just play. And what could the NCAA do to LSU? Could Sankey sanction LSU through the SEC for violating and defying the NCAA ruling? Could that happen? That's something that's really interesting to me. Like, they could say, screw you, we're not doing this. He might need a nap in a second. Thomas Oldham says, seems we're the Trump of college athletics. Well, hey, I mean, Thomas, let's be honest. Let's be honest here. This isn't about, you know, conservative, liberal. This isn't anything to do with politics or any political side, but let's be honest here. Donald Trump broke the law too. He took classified documents that he had no right to take home with him. We can argue or agree all night and day about how Joe Biden's done the same thing, how Joe Biden's a corrupt, president too. I agree. All of them are. All of them are pieces of shit. But let's don't pretend like Donald Trump didn't do anything wrong here. Like, come on. Like, that's what's funny is I'm sure Thomas has left watching this already because I didn't back his lord. But that's the problem with people who are way too far to the right, way too far to the left. You're up these people's asses like they're your god, and they're just taking your money. They're just like, thank you for putting more money in my wallet. Yeah. Thank you for. Oh yeah, I believe in you. Yeah. They love you so much. They care about you so much. These gurus, these spokesmen of the generation, the red pill guys. Yeah, they're so about the improvement of young men while they're taking so much of young men's money with these scams, these financial scams, while so much of the woke liberal media are so censorship happy and so creepy and just so you wanted to say something about politics. We usually leave politics out of it. Like we never really bring politics into it. But when you're going to, I'm going to call you on all sides of it because all sides are so hypocritical. All sides are so embarrassing, Thomas. And if you can't agree with that, you're not really paying attention to the extreme. It's getting bad in the country how extreme things are. And that's another thing that goes right back into the Maason Smith saga. The NCAA. Why have they always been so at LSU? Why? You know why? I'm going to tell you why. Mark Emmert and his ties to LSU. There's going to be loyalists and longtime employees of the NCAA who would have believed for a long time that Mark Emmert was almost protecting LSU. Mark Emmert was almost saying, like, I'm going to protect you guys while he was running the NCAA. So now when you've got these new people coming in, they're going to absolutely be like, well, now we've always been watching LSU, always keeping an eye on LSU. And now that Mr. Emmert's gone, now that we can just go all in. We can just go all in after these guys and make sure And so I just I think it has something to do with that. I think it's something to do with the leadership that came in after Mark Emmert left. And Mark Emmert was an absolute embarrassment, absolute joke. But he never really punished LSU too much for certain things. There was some violations that constantly were happening once or twice a year, but things that were actual things people should be getting in trouble for, I guess, except for some of the drug test things I don't really agree with. And there's some certain situations where we can definitely go into the details and say that person was definitely innocent or whatever. NCAA has always overstepped their bounds, but throughout the Mark Emmert terms, they didn't seem to really hunt LSU down. The second Emmert's gone, what happens? They're finally free to go all in on Will Wade and take him down finally. They basically went at LSU, and how much do you really love your athletic program? Are you really going to put Will Wade above your athletic program? Do you want to hurt football? And football is the biggest cash cow. They don't want to do anything to hurt football. So it's like it's interesting. The whole thing is so just stinky to me. The whole thing is just stinky. It just rots. It rots to me. It stinks of just greed. Maason Smith can't make like $500 to $1,000 off of signing his own fucking name on some shirts, on some helmets. He has to serve a game suspension, one of the biggest, highest profile games of his career at LSU. A game that could potentially make him hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. If he, like, imagine if Maason Smith came out against Florida State and had 2.5 sacks on the big stage, that type of stage. Even if he just had 1 sack and just had a big, high impact game, I'm not, screw stats. The scouts know what to look for. Just say he dominated Florida State's offensive line, had a big impact, changed the game for LSU. You know damn well it's making him millions of dollars. You take away that opportunity from Maason Smith, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're denying a man his ability to earn. So now Maason Smith, everything he's going to do with NIL, everything he's going to do this season, he's going to be looking over his shoulder at this stupid NCAA. How is that fair at all? I just hope he comes back against Grambling, just absolutely dominates, just blows up the stat sheet, blows up the box score, loads up absolute numbers to just get that money, and then just proceeds to have one unbelievable, money year. It's hard to even call it his junior year. He's like played like a half of his season. Like, I feel like as LSU fans, we have almost been cheated out of Maason Smith's career, so far. I know it's just one game. I'm not trying to melt over one game suspension. Really, our opinion, we've just been telling you, is not to melt. He's probably going to come back and destroy. I'm not even worried about LSU on the field. I'm worried about how ridiculous the NCAA are and how the fact that they're still coming at us, the fact that they're still overstepping their bounds, the fact that they still have way too much power. How the hell do they have this type of power to do this to LSU, to make us bend the knee? How can they make LSU bend the knee to this ruling? How can they make LSU bend the knee to this ruling? Why are LSU bending the knee to this ruling? Is there no appeal process? Is that crossing the line for us to appeal? What is the issue here? He signed some things. That's when you know Florida State, we can't play against Maason Smith. We can't play against that guy. We can't handle him. We especially can't handle him and Mekhi Wingo at the same time. Who the hell are we kidding? Those two were first-round draft picks. Well, let's get one of them off the field. Go to the NCAA. You got anything on LSU? Well, we do have this thing about the Kayshon Boutte and Maason Smith signing some things. Did Maason Smith ever serve as a suspension? Oh, wow. It looks like he didn't. Well, now he's going to. And against Florida State. How is this shit even decided? Who decides, okay, no, you don't have to serve the first game for suspension. You can serve the 4th, 5th, and 6th games as your 3-game suspension. Stuff like that. How is that negotiated? Why is it negotiated? How is it fair if you have a good relationship with this NCAA asshole, so you can get these permissible benefits in the sentencing. So how is that fair? Impermissible benefits in the sentencing process while you're punishing people, but no impermissible benefits, meaning like a free pair of shoes, while you're making a program millions upon millions of dollars every single season, just because your ass individually is dominating, is so marketable, is so ready for stardom. He might be ready for bed. It's such a shame for Maason Smith. I know, buddy. I'm crying too. We cry for Maason. We cry for Maason. It's such a shame, Maason. Why did you have to be suspended? Thomas Oldham said, everybody is hating on us. Thomas Oldham says, that was a metaphor. Hopefully I spelled that right. No, it's METAPHOR, but still, I love that you're using metaphors and going into that whole thing, because you're still right. You know, I mean, here's the thing how I see it. Trump is probably, they went looking for anything they could find on Trump to get him in trouble, right? They went looking for anything they could find on Maason Smith to get him in trouble. So you're dead on with that metaphor. Whether I like Donald Trump or not, whether Donald Trump is guilty or not, they went absolutely looking, digging, hunting for information on the guy to make him look bad, to get him out of this election, to put him in a courtroom, to give any type of law enforcement some, justifiable, reasonable cause to serve like search warrants and that type of stuff. Then they had a recording. And when they had a recording of Trump reading the things, then they served the warrant and they found them, and then it was done. So Trump will probably be in trouble for this thing. But it's only going to build his brand more. It's only going to make him look more like a martyr. It's only going to give him and his supporters more cause, because they do things that the people on the left don't, like work out, like have a family, like have a purpose. Like they work jobs that without them the world doesn't go around. Stuff like construction, police officers, usually the people who are shit on by the world. And from somebody who's usually from a left-leaning type of way of life, these type of truths are very universal now, and I can see them. They're right out in your face. And so a witch hunt for someone like Maason Smith is not crazy. That's not crazy conspiracy type of bullshit to me. I think that's very real here, because you look at every type of NCAA ruling when it comes to LSU lately. What is it about? It's always about crap. It's always about just, what are we talking about here? This guy signed this, and he got that. He got paid $10 for this. He got $200 for that. Like, how is this an issue? How is this an issue worth ruining a career, suspending someone a whole season? Yada yada. I get it. Maason Smith's just suspended one game. It's a pretty damn big game. It's a damn big game. Don't underestimate how big of a game this is for LSU season. If LSU lose this game, think about it this way. We would have one loss already on the board before playing Auburn, Arkansas, Mississippi State, who are always tough, especially in recent years, Texas A&M, who beat us last year, Alabama, Florida, at Ole Miss, at Missouri. I obviously probably LSU win there, but still, you can't really say that when last time we played Missouri, they beat us. So LSU cannot lose this game. LSU cannot afford to lose this game. The NCAA knew that. and said, let's levy the biggest punishment possible, really put them up against it. Really put LSU football program up against it to take away Maason Smith at the front, right? They thought last year, LSU, Maason Smith tears his ACL game 1. Surely that defensive line is going to struggle. They didn't know about my man, Mekhi Wingo. We did. We had done 3 interviews with him before the season even started, did his 4th midseason. So, there's guys all over this field, all over this roster for LSU who are going to get on the field and are going to make plays for this team. You might have not have ever heard of them. Maybe you've heard of their name, maybe you've never seen their film, etc. LSU has always been loaded with talent. Since I've been born, since I've been watching LSU football, there is one thing I know. We've got NFL players on this roster, don't we, damn it? We damn well do. That has always been true. No matter what you do. Trying to rhyme, trying to make a song, no matter what's going on. This thing with Maason Smith, it's just such a damn shame because it's really it's about a headhunting, witch hunting, digging, troublemaking bullshit from the NCAA. What are you trying to solve? What are you trying to stop? What are you trying to accomplish here by punishing Maason Smith? What does it do for the greater good of college football or for the public? What does it do? What does the punishment ultimately? That's what you're supposed to be there to do, not collect cash, not to be a cash collecting, witness intimidating, program intimidating, just money Rolodex. What are you there to do? What is your mission statement? All right, let's look up the NCAA mission statement. In Division Infractions Appeals Committee, we provide if a committee on fractions, let's see, committee's mission statement. We provide a meaningful, reliable, and credible appeal opportunity that produces outcomes which have a positive impact on the infractions process and support the NCAA's commitment to provide a fair and fulfilling competitive environment for student athletes. How is it fair for Maason Smith when you can see how many players doing this before, right there in 2020, 2021, when a lot of these players needed that money because of COVID, because of the pandemic hurting their families? They needed that money. Some of them were doing these signings because they needed that cash. But you go after Maason Smith and Kayshon Boutte. So that's why Kayshon Boutte didn't play against New Mexico last year. Unreal. Unbelievable. I'm shocked. I'm disgusted. I'm stunned that the NCAA stooped this low. But why should I be surprised? Why should I be shocked? This is what they do. This is all they've ever done. This is all they've ever existed for. Collect the money. Collect the money. That's all they're there for, is to collect that money for the NCAA. Fuck them. Fuck the NCAA. Fuck the infractions committee. And fuck Florida State. And fuck this committee. And fuck whoever went after Maason Smith with this. Fuck them all. Fuck them all to hell, because you don't go after one of our Tigers like this. You don't go after one of us like this unless you are ready to face the retribution from all of us. You might not have Maason Smith, on the field facing you. But have you ever faced a Mekhi Wingo when he's at his most pissed off? Have you ever faced a Jacobian Guillory at his most, don't want to use the desperate word, but NFL desperate with that type of talent? I don't think you want to mess with that guy. That's all I'm going to say. You ever faced the speed and intensity and insanity of Braden Swinson coming off the edge? Have you ever even seen or dealt with a dude whose name is Harold Perkins? A man who might be nominated for the Heisman this season? I know we got problems in the secondary. But we got a hell of a lot of problems. We got 99 problems up the front. And you know what? We may have 99 problems coming up the front, but we don't, being a simp ain't one of them. What an unbelievable state of affairs. We should not be surprised. We should not be shocked. Everybody, check out our stuff at LSUODYSSEY.com. I cannot stress it enough. If you enjoy our videos, you enjoy how zany and mad-capped these can be, how unfiltered, how irreverent, how challenging to the status quo of bullshit media that our content can be, support us, damn it. If you really want to take down the woke legacy media that is completely bought by military contractors and big pharma, you can see it on their ads, then support media like me who actually go out there and break news, actually go out there and kick some ass. We actually report. We actually talk to players, coaches, family members. We do it all. From halfway across the damn country some of the time, a lot of the time. So it's like, put your money where your mouth is. Support actual kick-ass independent media. And guess what? If you support alternative media with your money rather than supporting these assholes with your money, guess who gets replaced? The people who are benefiting from your hard-earned cash but are giving you what you want and what you deserve as the best fans in the country. Thank you.